I am a huge fan of passive income because once you implement it, it can be a game changer for your business. Passive income, in fact, is what allowed me to still generate revenue in my business after I had my son, and is what is allowing me to generate revenue even now in the middle of a global pandemic. Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, my name is CourtneyLSanders. I'm a full-time online coach as well as online entrepreneur, full-time mom, wife. I wear all the hats, I do all the things, but I specialize in helping working professionals turn their skills into businesses and income online. And in today's video, I want to tell you the strategies that have allowed me to create passive income in my business. So as I've mentioned in previous videos, I was able to generate over $500,000 in my business in less than 3 years before the age of 30, and much of that revenue was actually generated passively via my passive income product. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the strategies that I use to build passive income in my business, and hopefully you can take advantage of these strategies too. All right, let's get into it. Okay, the first passive income strategy that I focused on in building in my business was building an audience before I tried to sell anything. This is huge. I know there's a lot of back and forth online about whether you can build a business without an audience, or if you need an email list or Instagram followers or whatever. And so while you don't need a huge following to get started, you do need an audience before you really sell anything, because if you don't have an audience, who are you selling to exactly? So I know a lot of people try to leverage things like Facebook ads, and there's a time and place for that, and that's a whole separate video that I would have to discuss. But I found that it is most beneficial to build my audience first before trying to sell anything, because get this, my audience itself is an asset, right? Even when I have nothing to sell, even when things are going crazy, that audience that's still paying attention to my content, that's still on my email list, that's still watching my YouTube videos, listening to my podcast, following me on Instagram, they themselves are an asset, because I can just, really survey them and see what their problems are, what are they looking for solutions about, and then create products based on their feedback. And those products are guaranteed to sell because they're products that my audience themselves have asked for. So you want to build an audience, even if it's a small one, before you even embark on building a passive income business, or really any type of income business for that matter. Okay, the next thing that I did to build passive income in my business was I focused on building an attractive brand. So I feel like this is mildly controversial as well, because everybody's trying to get the most for the least, right? Everybody's like, how do I get passive income without having any followers? How do I get passive income with this rinky-dinky website and these rinky-dinky graphics? Sis. Come here, let's have a conversation. Okay, I don't know what other coaches are telling you. I don't know what other people are preaching, but I can speak for myself. Having an attractive brand has been a huge asset for me and has allowed me to generate passive income. You wanna know why? Because this is the internet. Meaning, people don't know you, they can't see you and speak to you face to face, they can't call you on the phone, they can't drive past your business. All they have is a computer screen to evaluate if you're credible, if you know what you're talking about, if you're not gonna scam them. And one of the biggest ways that people measure your credibility is how your brand looks. They do. I know everybody says you can't judge a book by its cover, but when it comes to online business, people do judge your online business based on how professional your brand is. And when we're talking about passive income, we're talking about income that is generated without you physically having to show up, without you physically having to sell anything. So that means your brand has to do all the talking for you. So one of the best investments that I ever made was getting my brand together. If you go to my website is pretty good, okay? I have a top-notch website. I have an in-house graphic designer. I make sure that my branding looks as professional as possible, because I recognize that if people are gonna make the decision to buy something from me without speaking to me, without having any interaction with me, they're gonna do so based on how credible I look from my brand. So you do wanna make that investment early on if possible. Okay, the third thing that I did to build passive income in my business is I built active income. Before you can make $1 in your sleep, you gotta learn how to make $1 while you're awake, all right? So this is a big mistake I see a lot of people make. They rush to try to create passive income and they ain't learned how to make active income first, right? So you do wanna focus on generating active income, because once you've successfully done that active income, then you automate the processes that create that active income, and that's where your passive income comes from, right? So passive income doesn't just fall out of the sky, it's developed from taking active income and automating it through systems, software, and even outsourcing portions of it to your team. So for instance, when I was first getting started building passive income in my business, I was actually building a lot of passive income while I was working my 9-to-5 job, because obviously I was at work from 9 to 5, so I couldn't physically, be on the phone and sell with people. So that's when I created those digital products. But in the beginning, I was launching a lot of those digital products manually to see which products were more attractive to my customers other than, other products. Some product launches I did, they completely flopped. And I was really grateful that I didn't try to automate them and turn them into passive income, because I wouldn't have generated a lot of passive income because I didn't generate a lot of active income from those products. So I first focused on creating active income. So launching digital products, writing new ebooks, coming up with courses, and selling them manually and actively. And then I looked at everything that I was creating and I saw what was most popular, what was consistently getting sales. And then from there, I figured out, okay, how can I automate this in a way that is passive? So I started with the active income first, and then I transitioned to passive. All right, before we get into the next thing I did, I want to know, why do you want passive income to begin with, right? Tell me about yourself. Are you a stay-at-home mom and you want to create more passive income so you could be with your family? Are you launching a second business and you want to create passive income so that you can spend more time focusing on the first? Just really curious, what does passive income mean to you, and why are you trying to create it in your business and in your life? Share in the comments below. Okay, the fourth thing I did in order to create passive income in my business is I learned how to delegate. So I always tell people I paid other people before I paid myself. And I did this even when I was working a 9-to-5 job. So when I was working my 9-to-5 job, and it was, pretty intense. I had to focus on work. I used to work in finance and banking for the federal government. I hired 2 VAs to do a lot of the work behind the scenes for me. And so when I was first doing this, I wasn't doing it, quote unquote, to create passive income. I was just doing it to keep my business afloat while I was working full time in my 9-to-5 job. But even as I started to transition out of my 9-to-5 job, I was so grateful that I learned how to delegate, and I learned how to find good people and how to outsource duties, because even when I had my time to myself, I was able to transition a lot of the things that I was doing and put them on other people in my staff who could do a lot of that work for me. And so even now, as I am recording this video, we are in the middle of a global pandemic. That means none of us have any help, right? I'm home, my husband's home, my son is home. We don't have our nanny, we don't have daycare. It's just all of us in the house. I'm doing everything. My time has been radically cut, not just in half, my time has been cut into quarters, right? But because I learned how to delegate, that allows me to still do my business and to still generate passive income, because I have people on my team that have been doing the work and they know how to do the work in my business. Now here's the thing, typically when we talk about outsourcing and getting team, people think that this has to be super expensive, but it doesn't have to be that way. Back when I was working a 9-to-5 job, and even now, a lot of my outsourced staff are quite affordable and very inexpensive, because I leverage staff from all over the world, different exchange rates and different living wages. So if you're curious about how I'm getting all of this outsourced help for inexpensive prices, you can download my outsourcing cheat sheet at the link below, and it'll give you my whole secrets. I share the whole thing. This is exactly how I find excellent people. This is how I find them for a really affordable price, even to this day, and how I get a lot of my work done. So you gotta learn how to delegate if you wanna create passive income. Okay, the next thing that I did to create passive income was I learned how to create strategic content. So a big mistake that I see, not just online coaches make, but just entrepreneurs in general, even product-based entrepreneurs. Maybe you have a makeup product business, or you sell beauty care or bath bombs, or whatever it is that you sell. Oftentimes people will create content on social media and on their platforms haphazardly, because they're like, oh, I just gotta get something out. Oh, I just gotta post something on Instagram. I just gotta post something on Twitter. I just have to post something. You never wanna do that. Anytime you post something, that's an opportunity to make a sale. I'm gonna repeat this again. Anytime you post something, that's an opportunity to make a sale. And not just make a sale, but make a passive sale. Why? Because that content will live on even after you've posted it. So take this video, for instance. I don't know when you're watching this. You might be watching this a year after, the time that I've actually recorded this. Each piece of content that you create, whether it's a video, an Instagram post, a podcast, a Pinterest pin, anything, it stands as its own living, breathing sales machine for you long after you've created it well into the future. So you don't just want to create content haphazardly, you want to create content strategically so that it ultimately attracts your ideal target market, brings them into your world, and provides them with an opportunity to take advantage of whatever it is that you sell and whatever it is that you have to offer. Okay, the sixth thing that I learned how to do in order to create passive income in my business is I learned systems and I learned sales funnels. Yes, so I'm specifically speaking to the women right now because I found that a lot of women kind of shy away from some of the more technical aspects, the nitty-gritty aspects of building those, systems and leveraging that technology in order to create consistent passive income in their business. But sis, it's important. You have to learn it. So I recognize that I have a slight advantage in that I kind of have an engineer's mind. So I've shared in previous videos that before I switched my major to marketing, I actually went to school on a full ride engineering scholarship. So my whole life I've been very nerdy, I guess we'll say, and very much into technology and building things. And I really geek out on a lot of the systems behind my business, but I still had to learn from someone. So I spent a pretty penny when I was working a full-time job. I spent a lot of money, like several $1,000s, to work with someone who knew back-end systems, who knew Facebook ads and funnels and marketing. I mean, I worked with this person for 6 months, a consultant, one-on-one, to really nail this down in my business. But I am so grateful for it because 5 years later, I'm able to have passive income generating in the background for me in my business simply because I knew how to build these systems myself and I know how to tweak them or correct them if anything's going wrong. And they just really run on autopilot. And I don't have to pay anybody to do anything for me in that regard unless I want to, because I know how to do that. So if there's one thing I would recommend to you, I would say do get down in the weeds and learn marketing automation, learn sales funnels, learn email marketing, learn how to build those systems and put it all together. I know it's a lot of work, it's stressful, give yourself 6 months, but if you can learn this and you could set it up, the feeling and the freedom you get from, waking up in the morning and looking at your phone and having Stripe notifications and PayPal notifications going off because people were buying your product when you were asleep, there's no greater feeling in the world, I'm telling you. All right, so these are the strategies that have worked for me over the last 5 years, but you're probably wondering, how do you put all this stuff together? Well, that's why I've created my online business toolkit for you. It's completely free. You can download it and it'll give you access to all the tools, all the technology, the software, a lot of those things that I was talking about that allows me to create passive income. You can get access to these tools and softwares as well. So if you're curious about what I use or just what online entrepreneurs use in general in order to make all these systems go, you'll definitely want to take advantage of that. You can get it by clicking the link below to get that online business toolkit. All right, so if you like this video, I actually share even more tips on my podcast and on my Instagram account. So follow me on Instagram. It's at CourtneyLSanders. You can check out my podcast both on iTunes and Spotify. It's called The Courtney Sanders Show. So with that, leave a comment, like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.